Senator Jon Kyl is the Republican whip in the United States Senate. He serves on the Finance Committee, the Judiciary Committee, and not coincidentally, he's also the ranking Republican on the Subcommittee on Terrorism, Technology, and Homeland Security. Senator, you're one busy guy. Thanks for taking the time to join us.
Well, thanks very much. No, I'm always happy to be with you. Thank you.
Well, we appreciate that. Before we go into health care, Senator, I just have to ask you, what is your comment on this release by the Scottish today of one of the Lockerbie bombers? I am just absolutely beside myself.
Well, it is very distressing. And apparently from some of the news this morning, there are a lot of folks in England, unfortunately, or Scotland, who believe that the guy is innocent, that this was all some kind of a CIA plot, which just goes to show that it's a strange world out there.
Amen.
I was also a bit taken aback by the Attorney General's comments, who I didn't know that he was so involved in this. He was very critical of the release of the individual back to Libya.
Right.
And yet he is rumored to be on the verge of appointing a special counsel to investigate members of the U.S. intelligence service for their activities in connection with interrogation some 4 or 5 years ago. Something which I think would be a very dangerous move.
Well, I think it would be extraordinarily dangerous. And I didn't mean for our interview to go this direction, but since we're started on it, may we continue for a minute or two. One of the things that strikes me is that there is an utter war between the White House and the Democrats in Congress and our entire intelligence community. This business of appointing a special prosecutor, as Mr. Holder is rumored, as you say, to be on the verge of doing, would be almost the final straw. I mean, I don't see how the intelligence community can function. And I think even Leon Panetta wrote this in an op-ed in the Washington Post a week or two ago. He basically said, I can't function with Congress if you are not going to be able to trust me and I can't trust you. Where is this war going to end?
Well, exactly. And remember the 9/11 Commission, after the tragedy of 9/11, analyzed all of the different problems and urged some corrective measures. And one of the things that they warned against was this notion of investigation of the CIA or other members of the intelligence community because of the chilling effect that it would have on them and their inability, therefore, to gather the intelligence that we need to prevent another attack. And yet that appears to be what the Attorney General is prepared to do. A group of, I think, 9 U.S. senators, including myself, wrote a letter to him yesterday and urged him to reconsider the decision, not to go forward with it. And my guess is that if he were to do so, there are going to be a lot of very angry people because in his confirmation hearing, remember that was about the time the president said that he wanted to look forward, not backward, and the Attorney General was pretty supportive of the president's comments.
Well, as I know from an interview I did with one of your great colleagues, and I suspect that you're going to miss him even more than I do, and I'm going to miss him a lot when he retires, Senator Kit Bond, the ranking Republican on the Intelligence Committee, told me about 2 weeks ago that Mr. Holder, in his interview, and this is all public record, in his interview with Senator Bond prior to confirmation, he promised Senator Bond outright that he would not do precisely this. I mean, how are the Republicans going to react, do you think, if this actually comes to pass?
It's going to be a very big reaction. I think maybe, and by the way, Senator Bond is one of the people who signed the letter.
Oh, okay,
He's been a stalwart, as you've pointed out. And maybe they think that if they can do this in the middle of the August recess when all the members are back home in their own states and they're not gathered together in a critical mass to be critical of the Attorney General's move, that they can get away with it. But I guarantee you that we're watching, and there will be a firestorm of protest if he does go forward.
Wow. Well, in the minute or so we've got left, I don't want to leave this subject, but I have to. We got you on to talk about what's happening on health care. We see that the president yesterday said that health care is a core ethical and moral obligation. And I think Senator Reid's spokesman said yesterday that they're something to the effect that their patience is not unlimited, and they're determined to get something done this year by any legislative means necessary. Is there going to be a deal? Are they going to split the bill? Are the Republicans going to go along with this?
No, and it may well be because they have splits in their own ranks that they've got to try to figure out a way to divide the legislation so that they can get enough votes to pass each element of it. I don't think they're going to be successful because there are a lot of moderate Democrats who are just as concerned as Republicans are about the direction this is going. And quickly to the moral point, I can't think of anything more important to your family and mine than their health care. we would do anything we could to get the kind of health care that the doctor says is necessary.
Absolutely.
And when the government takes this over, and it's not just because of government insurance plan, it's the government regulations over everybody's health care and insurance that bothers me. Then eventually, because they are going to find that adding all these people require them to cut costs, rationing will inevitably result. And it's going to start with America's senior citizens, who are going to have to pay the first $500 billion toward the cost of this new program. That's going to inevitably result in reduction of services to the seniors, and that is immoral in my view.
Amen to that. Senator Jon Kyl of Arizona, the Republican whip, one very busy gentleman, one of the good tough guys who's up there actually doing something for the conservatives and the Republicans and America. Senator, I'm a little excited today. Forgive me, but you really are one of our good guys,
well,
and I really appreciate your coming on with us today.
Always appreciate you and your listeners, and Fred. Thanks.
Well, thanks. All right, Jed Babin in for Fred Thompson.